This 5% shiny hunt was a nightmare. They say that shiny hunting is all about patience, but really, it's about beating the odds. There's nothing quite like seeing those different color sparkles on screen for the first time, a feeling that you stared down a ridiculous number and actually won. For me, it's not just about collecting either. My crazy long-term quest is to catch every single shiny Pokemon and then train them for competitive play, just to prove that these rare trophies can be real champions. I've been playing Pokemon for years, dating all the way back to Pokemon Red. But this year, I started a quest on a legit copy of Pokemon Crystal and carefully moving my collection forward through time. From Pokemon Transporter to Pokemon Bank, and then to finally into Pokemon Home. Each transfer feels like I'm preserving a little piece of history. Now, it was time for me to add the next targets to my collection. Pokemon number 21, Spearow, and the evolution, number 22, Fearow. The plan seemed simple enough. I'd hunt for a shiny Spearow in Pokémon Brilliant Diamond. The catch? It has a pathetic 5% encounter rate on the routes where it shows up, and I'd have to use the notoriously difficult and unforgiving Poké Radar. I knew it'd be a challenge, but I had absolutely no idea I was walking straight into a nightmare. So let's break down the plan and exactly where it all went wrong. The mission was to get 2 shiny Spearows. I decided to start my hunt in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond on route number 225 in the postgame. It's a rugged mountain path, and somewhere in that tall grass was a little golden bird I was after. My weapon of choice was the Poké Radar, an item you get late in the game that lets you chain encounters of the same Pokemon. If you've never used it, here's the deal. You activate the radar, and a few patches of grass will shake. You walk into one and you fight a Pokemon, and if you knock it out or catch it, the music changes and the new patches shake, hopefully with the same Pokemon. Each time you do this successfully, your chain goes up by 1. The higher your chain, the better your shiny odds. You start at the base 1 in 4096, but if you can build a chain all the way up to 40, your odds shoot up to an incredible 1 in 99 for a special sparkling patch of grass to appear. Sounds pretty amazing, right? Well, here's the fine print. The chain can break for a million reasons. You walk into the shaking patch and a different Pokemon pops out. Chain broken. A random wild Pokemon ambushes you. Chain broken. And sometimes, even if you do everything perfectly, the chain just breaks. There's a 7% chance of it failing on every single attempt, just for fun. This brings us to the real problem. Spearow has only a 5% chance of appearing on route number 225. This meant that just starting a chain was a difficult task. I couldn't just wander into the grass and get going. I had to pop repels to keep other Pokemon away and just pray that when I used the Poké Radar, one of the shaking patches would actually have that 5% Spearow. This wasn't a shiny hunt. It was a war against math before the hunt could even begin. The first few hours were a complete blur of false starts. I'd spend 10, sometimes 15 minutes just trying to get a single Spearow to spawn, so I could start a chain. I'd finally find one, and then I'd get my hopes up and start the chain. Chain of 1, chain of 2, and then eradicate. Chain broken. Back to square one. It was absolutely draining. I was basically a prisoner in this one patch of grass on Route 225. Then, hours on my stream kept ticking by, but my encounter counter was barely budging. The real frustration kicked in when I'd actually get a decent chain going. I remember one attempt so clearly. I finally found a Spearow and was slowly, carefully building the chain. 2, 3, and then 4. I was in the zone. I was counting my steps to recharge the radar, staying away from the edge patches, only going for the safe patches 4 tiles away. At a chain of 7, I was sweating. The odds were improving, but the tension was getting insane. Every time the grass shook, it felt like I was defusing a bomb. I reset the radar, found a perfect patch 4 steps away, and walked towards it. My heart was hammering. This could be it. I stepped into the grass, and the game showed me Eradicate. The Eradicate's cry, a sound that had become the theme song to my failure, blasted in my headphones. All that focus, all that time, just gone. It was soul-crushing. I tried again and again. My chat was full of supportive messages, but even they couldn't break through the cloud of despair. I felt like I was fighting a battle against an opponent that never gets tired. The golden bird felt like a myth, a ghost I was chasing through digital hell. After countless hours, and way too many broken chains, I literally stopped counting for my own sanity. I felt totally and completely defeated. If you've ever felt the unique pain of a broken radar chain, or you're just enjoying watching my slow descent into madness, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Seriously, seeing that number go up is what keeps me going through brutal hunts like this one. Now, back to the story. I was just staring at the screen. My character still standing in that cursed patch of grass on Route 225, and I'd hit a wall. This wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't even a rewarding challenge. It was just punishment. I had poured so much of my time into this with absolutely nothing to show for it but a massive headache. That's when I made the call. It was time to wave the white flag, but I wasn't giving up on Spearow. I was just giving up on this method. Think of it as a strategic retreat. I turned off my Switch, took a deep breath, and decided it was time for a change of scenery. Next stop, the Kanto region. In Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, this game has a completely different and honestly much kinder shiny hunting method: catch combos. I flew to Route 4, a nice peaceful path with a big patch of grass just outside of Mount Moon. The plan here was to build a combo by catching the same Pokemon over and over. Unlike Poké Radar, this chain doesn't just break randomly. It only breaks if the Pokemon runs away or if you catch a different species. The odds are way more straightforward too. As you build your combo, the shiny odds for every Pokemon on the route get better. Once you hit a catch combo of 31, the odds max out. With the shiny charm, which I had, the best odds you can get are around 1 in 273. Now, 1 in 273 is no guarantee, but compared to the 1 in 4096 nightmare I just escaped from, it felt like a statistical paradise. I stocked up on Pokeballs and found my spot on Route 4. It felt like a fresh start, and for the first time in days, I actually felt a little flicker of hope. Hunting in Let's Go was like a different world. Instead of the high-stress, high-tension nightmare of the Poké Radar, this was a calm, rhythmic process. Catch a Spearow, watch the combo counter go up, and then wait for the next one to fly in. The overworld spawns meant I could see every Pokemon in the grass, so I could spot a shiny the second it appeared without having to start a battle. I threw on some music and settled into the grind, and the encounter counter started climbing. 50 encounters, 100 encounters, 200 encounters. I blew past the 273 mark, the point where the odds said a shiny should have appeared, but nothing yet. I kept at it, and my eyes scanning every single bird that spawned. 300 encounters. And then, at 309 encounters, it happened. A flash of gold. A Spearow appeared on the screen that was obviously different. It had this beautiful shimmering gold body. There it was, my shiny. The feeling was just pure, unfiltered relief. I think I yelled so loud that my neighbors could hear me. After the absolute misery in Pokémon Brilliant Diamond, this felt incredible. I carefully started the encounter and triple-checked that I wasn't going to mess it up. And with one satisfying click of an Ultra Ball, the golden bird was mine. The nightmare was over, but the quest wasn't. I still needed a second one for Pharaoh. I was bracing myself for another long grind, but I guess the game decided to throw me a bone for my persistence. This time, after 319 more encounters, a second golden Spearow sparkled on the screen. The feeling was just as sweet as the first time. My stubbornness finally paid off. Twice. With my 2 golden birds finally caught, I eventually evolved one of them to Pharaoh and sent them safely over to Pokemon Home. They're now standing with the rest of my shiny trophies, ready to be trained up for the competitive battles ahead. Looking back, This hunt was a story of two extremes. The nightmare in Brilliant Diamond was a harsh lesson, a reminder that sometimes the odds are just stacked against you, and a tool, no matter how good it's supposed to be, can be a source of pure pain. The eventual win in Let's Go, though, was a lesson in strategy and knowing when to switch things up. It's not about giving up, it's about hunting smarter, not harder. Every shiny has a story, and this one was a roller coaster of despair, and then finally triumph. It just goes to show that the most rewarding victories are the ones that really, really test your patience. So let me know in the comments, what was your most frustrating or longest shiny hunt? I'd love to hear your war stories. My next targets are Ekans and Arbok, so wish me luck. And thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next hunt.